This teacher thought he could get away with humiliating one student again and again. He mocked her, belittled her, and made sure she knew her place. But what he didn't know, she was the last person he should mess with. Because the moment the truth came out, his entire world turned upside down. And trust me, you won't see this ending coming. Here's how it all unfolded. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Racism Watchdog for more powerful stories. The air is filled with the rustling of notebooks and muffled chatter as students settle into their seats. The classroom is like any other. Posters peeling at the edges, a whiteboard covered in half-erased notes from the previous lesson, and a faint hum of fluorescent lights overhead. The door swings open, and Sir Robertus, mid-50s, graying at the temples, walks in with his signature leather-bound lesson planner tucked under his arm. He carries an air of authority, strict, no nonsense. But behind his tough demeanor lies something darker, something only a few students have experienced firsthand. He places his planner down and scans the classroom. His gaze lands on Zara Williams at 16, poised, intelligent, composed. She sits in the middle row, silently reviewing her notes. Zara isn't just any student. She's one of the top in her class, disciplined and articulate. But none of that seems to matter to Mr. Roberts. His lips curl into a smirk. And Zara Robertus, mocking. All right, let's start with something simple. Zara, let's see if you can actually get this one right. A few students chuckle under their breath. They know what's coming. They've seen it before. Zara slowly looks up, unfazed. She's dealt with this man's condescending tone before. But today, there's something sharper about it. Something intentional. Mr. Roberts turns to the board and scribbles a complex equation across it. And Zara Robertus. Go ahead, Miss Williams. Let's see if you can keep up. A hush falls over the class. Zara sets her pen down and meets his gaze, unwavering. Then, in a steady, confident voice, she delivers the correct answer flawlessly. A flicker of surprise crosses Mr. Roberts' face, but he hides it quickly, replacing it with dismissive arrogance. Zara Robertus. Flatly, lucky guess. A murmur ripples through the room. Did he just refuse to acknowledge her? Zara's expression remains unreadable, but her grip tightens on her pen. CLASMAT, WAISPERS, grinning. He's messing with the wrong one. The tension is palpable. Mr. Roberts paces, then suddenly changes tactics. Zara Robertus. All right, if you're so smart. Explain how you got there, step by step. The class turns to Zara. Some expect her to falter. Others, the ones who know her well, just wait. Zara stands, pushing her chair back slowly. Every movement calculated. She walks toward the board, picks up a marker, and breaks down the entire problem with precision. Silence. Mr. Roberts clenches his jaw. He can't deny it. She's right. But instead of acknowledging her brilliance, he scoffs. Zara Roberts. Dryly. Not bad for someone like you. The words cut through the air. The meaning is clear. The classroom is silent, the weight of his words sinking in. Zara blinks but doesn't react. She won't give him that satisfaction. Instead, she steps back, places the marker down, and returns to her seat with the same calm composure she had before. But the atmosphere has changed. A few students glance around, shifting uncomfortably. Others avoid eye contact entirely. Mr. Roberts turns to his desk, pretending the moment never happened. The days following their first clash only make things worse. Mr. Roberts doesn't forget. He doesn't let go. Instead, his microaggressions become bolder, sharper. When Zara raises her hand, he looks right through her. Other students get called on, even those who don't know the answer. Her essays, once praised by other teachers, suddenly come back with harsh red marks. Weak argumentation. Needs improvement. Are you sure you even understand the material? But the worst part, the subtle public humiliation. Zara, are you even paying attention? He interrupts her mid-note-taking. Yes, Mr. Roberts, she replies, voice steady. Really? He smirks. Then explain what I just said. She does, word for word. A flicker of irritation crosses his face. Humph. For once. Laughter ripples through the class. Zara's jaw tightens, but she says nothing. She's used to this. The final straw doesn't come as one big explosion. It builds, layer by layer. It starts during a class discussion on Black historical leaders. Mr. Roberts paces at the front of the room. While some of these figures make contributions, he says, we also have to be realistic. Many of them, he chuckles, shaking his head, we're just over-glorified activists, not true pioneers of change. The class falls silent. Zara stiffens. Mia, sitting beside her, murmurs, Z, don't. But it's too late. Zara raises her hand. With all due respect, that's inaccurate. Mr. Roberts arches an eyebrow. Oh. She leans forward. Dr. Carter G. Woodson laid the foundation for Black History Month. Ida B. Wells risked her life to expose lynchings. Are you saying that's not pioneering? Mr. Roberts' smirk fades. The tension in the room thickens. Zara doesn't break eye contact. History isn't about comfort. It's about truth. Some students nod subtly. Others just look away, pretending not to see the brewing storm. Mr. Roberts slowly sets his marker down. He folds his arms, exhaling through his nose. Zara, he says smoothly, you need to be careful about being too aggressive in class. Passion is good, but you don't want to develop a reputation for being difficult. Silence. Zara's fingers clench around her pen. There it is. That unspoken but all too familiar accusation. Aggressive, she echoes softly. Mr. Roberts shrugs. People respect students who know their place. The class holds its breath. Zara stares at him, her composed facade cracking just slightly. She wants to say something to rip his words apart piece by piece, but she knows that's exactly what he wants. A faint buzz from the back. A student, unnoticed, tilts their phone just right, recording. Mia whispers, Z, just let it go. But Zara knows. This is far from over. It happens 2 days later. Another routine humiliation. Mr. Roberts stands at the front of the room holding Zara's assignment, the one she spent hours on. Ladies and gentlemen, he announces, sometimes in academia, people take shortcuts. Zara's stomach drops. He tears the paper in half. Gasps fill the room. Mr. Roberts sighs, shaking his head. Plagiarism is unacceptable. Zara shoots to her feet. I didn't cheat. He raises a hand. Please, don't cause a scene. Her vision blurs. The injustice of it burns. He wants her to react. He wants her to explode and give him the proof he needs to brand her as difficult. But instead, she inhales sharply and smiles. A slow, knowing smile that wipes the smugness right off his face. You'll regret this, she says quietly. Then, without waiting for permission, she walks out. Zara doesn't hesitate. She storms through the school's long hallways, past curious students and teachers, her heart pounding but her resolve unshaken. She's not crying. She's not shaken. She's done. The front office receptionist looks up as Zara strides in. Sweetheart, is everything okay? I need to see Principal Williams, she says, voice steady. Now. The receptionist blinks in surprise. He's in a meeting, but... Zara walks past her and pushes open the office door. Inside, Principal Jonathan Williams sits behind his large mahogany desk reviewing documents. A distinguished man in his late 40s, he exudes authority, respect, and in this moment, concern as he looks up and sees his daughter's face. Zara? He immediately sets his pen down. What's wrong? She exhales, finally allowing herself to feel the weight of what just happened. She drops the remains of her torn-up assignment onto his desk. Mr. Roberts. Her father frowns, picking up the shredded paper. Explain. She does. Every word, every slight. Every humiliating moment. The microaggressions. The snide remarks. The blatant disrespect. As she speaks, her father's expression darkens. His grip tightens on the torn pages. He leans back in his chair, fingers steepled, eyes cold with unspoken fury. When she finishes, silence fills the room. Then he stands, "Stay here." Zara doesn't argue. She watches as he buttons his suit jacket and strides out the door. Mr. Roberts sits alone in his empty classroom, red pen in hand, grading papers. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead. He hums to himself, satisfied. Then the door swings open. He glances up, barely fazed. His lips curl into a smug smirk as he sees Principal Williams step inside. Finally, he sighs, setting down his pen. Some discipline. The principal doesn't respond. He doesn't move. The silence stretches. Slowly, Mr. Roberts' smirk falters. His gaze flickers to the principal's hand, Zara's shredded assignment. And that's when it hits him. Principal Williams isn't here to reprimand Zara. He's here for him. The tension in the room becomes suffocating. Principal Williams steps forward, placing the torn paper on Mr. Roberts' desk with deliberate slowness. His voice is calm, measured, yet ice-cold. "We need to talk. What would you do if you were Zara? Should students speak up against biased teachers? Comment below, and subscribe to Racism Watchdog for more inspiring stories."